Melissa from Storyteller Stitchery, and it has been like 2 months since the last video. So I actually did record one about a month ago and then just didn't have the time to get around to editing it. So anyway, 2 months later, here we are, next video. So I'm excited. I've got a few things to share because obviously it's been a while. So updates on some of the festivals and fiber events that we've been to, some of the things that I picked up, and then also some updates from Storyteller Stitchery. So a little bit about me if you're new to Storyteller Stitchery. So like I said, my name's Melissa. I am the dyer and founder behind Storyteller Stitchery. So hand-dyed yarn, fiber, embroidery threads. I make little wooden tools and notions and things, and everything is inspired by stories, so mostly from books, so characters and adventures and things like that. But there are some colorways that are inspired by nature and place, but they are the minority. Most of it is related to books, which you know, yarn, textile arts and literature are like two of my favorite things. So yeah, I'm very happy doing this and running this fun Storyteller Stitchery business. So yeah, anyway, updates, what's been going on in the past few months. I think we'll condense it maybe to what's been going on in June and this first part of July. So June was a busy month. We were at the Flagstaff Fiber Festival, which is a town in the mountain in northern Arizona. So we live in the Phoenix area. We're not in Phoenix City, but we're kind of just outside of it. So in the desert. So it's very hot right now. Hot, dry. This is the worst time of the year. This is basically like the winter for us, where we have to kind of stay indoors and don't get to go out because it's just way too hot. So anyway, going up to Flagstaff was wonderful to kind of escape some of the heat a little bit, although it was early June, so we went, you know, I'm more sick of the heat now mid-July than I was then. But anyway, so we went up to Flagstaff. I'm going to share a little bit of footage about that, and then up to Estes Park for the Fiber Festival up there. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit, so let's chat about Flagstaff. So it's an outdoor event, and this is our first ever outdoor event as vendors. So we had kind of the tents, and we'll put some video in here so you'll see. We had the tents, and we had our grid wall and all of the yarn and fiber and everything, and so I was a little bit worried, like in case it rained or got windy, because especially that time of year, it's not monsoon season in Arizona yet, but you know, we're not far off it. But it was great. The weather was lovely. We had a great spot. We were it was warm if you were in the sun, but obviously in the tents, you know, the shade, that really helped. And so it was just a really lovely event. We got to see some friends there, some of the other vendors, and meet some new folks as well. And so it was just a really good weekend, and it's our first time as a vendor there, but I used to go not every year because sometimes there were things coming up, like we'd be on vacation or something like that, but I always would try to go whenever I could. Last year we went and I did a 2-day workshop on mushroom and lichen dyeing, which was phenomenal. That one wasn't offered this year, but there was a bunch of other workshops and fun things going on, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that was like the first weekend in June, and then we left from there and drove straight up to Estes Park in northern Colorado, and we were a vendor at Estes Park Wool Market, which was kind of a dream come true. Like, so back before we moved to the US, like back in like, I don't know, 2006 maybe, 2005, 2006, when I was really first starting to get into fiber arts, and because I started knitting and I really quickly like got into spinning, and at that point I just with a drop spindle. I didn't have a wheel yet. I didn't get my first wheel till 2007. So with a drop spindle and starting to kind of go to like, well, we were still in northeast England, going to like alpaca farms in the area. Well, one, I don't know that there were multiples, but at least one. And I kind of traveling a little bit to a few different fiber events that were happening, and I subscribed to Spin-Off magazine, which was an American one, but they did ship internationally, so I was able to get that magazine, and just really starting to kind of learn and explore and dive into like fiber arts. And I'm pretty sure it was in Spin-Off magazine I read about Estes Park wool market, and I remember saying to Paul, like, we weren't even planning to move to the US at that point. It wasn't something that we, you know, it wasn't on our radar yet. Or certainly, well, maybe we talked about it, but it wasn't like, you know, definitely happening or anything like that. So anyway, I remember talking with Paul and saying like, oh man, this is such a amazing thing. Like, if we, next time we go to the US or if we visit, like, I really want to try and go to Estes Park wool market. And it was on my list of things that I just really wanted to do for a long time. So this was starting at like 2005 or something, and we didn't actually go until 2022. So 2 years ago we got to go, not as vendors. Our Storyteller Stitchery was not a thing, it was still an idea back then, but it wasn't actually, you know, a business yet. So I in that time I'd been, you know, I was dyeing and spinning and all these fiber arts, but just for me, and so, you know, it wasn't the business. So anyway, we got to go to Estes Park in 2022, which was incredible, because the town itself is just like this magical dream location that it's so beautiful it doesn't even feel real. It's just incredible. And you know, the scenery with the mountains and the lake and the wildlife that's there, and you know, the elk that are wandering around, and it just is stunning. And then the market itself, just being there was incredible. So anyway, fast forward to this year, I applied for Estes Wool Market. I was so excited to find out that I got in. So I've been really looking forward to it this whole time. And then when we got there, and we started we found out where our booth location was, and we started setting everything up. We're putting up the grid wall, and I had this moment where I kind of looked around the market, and there's other vendors setting up that you know, the marketplace wasn't open to the public yet. This was obviously right before it started, but I was looking around at other vendors setting up, and I got so emotional. I started crying just with, you know, it was just one of those moments of like, I'm very grateful to be able to do this and to have this business and to be involved in the fiber arts community. And when I go to these events, like, every time I just feel so much gratitude that I can be part of this and contribute to this community. But Estes Park in particular, because of the history there, it just felt very emotional and just an incredible opportunity and experience to be there. So anyway, so that's the backstory of why that one in particular is incredibly special to me. So we had the best time. I just loved being at the booth and chatting with people, and but also wandering around, seeing the different things. So anyway, let's put some footage in and show you some of Estes Park. One of the things that I did was I got to go visit the fleece market, and I did buy a fleece. I bought from Black Eagle Sheep. So I bought a fleece from Elgin. I think I'm saying this name right. who is a Corriedale, Lincoln, Cotswold and CVM cross. So it's an 8.6 pound fleece, and let me see, I did grab one of his locks. I'll try and put some footage in, like just to show you a photograph of the giant bag of fleece. But this is one of his locks. So he's got a lovely little crimp. And it's this lovely grey colour. So it is a raw fleece. I haven't washed it yet. I still need to do that. And he did win a first place ribbon. So that happened after I'd bought the fleece. They did the judging. So that was a lovely surprise when I went to like pick up the fleece and found the little ribbon there, and then some notes from the judge. And so the notes say drier, less lanolin, very soft, nice color, lock pulls out distinct, which means this lock of fiber, so this lock of wool, you can kind of, you can easily separate the wool and kind of pull out individual locks. It's not matted together, or it was really clean as well. I was very surprised. And she does jacket them, so they have, like, she has the coats on them, so they have the little coats on. So there's an animal barn at the event, and they have like sheep and goats and different animals that you can go and see and visit with and kind of chat with the farmers. And so this particular farm, Black Eagle Sheep, they had a couple of sheep that you could visit with. Elgin wasn't one of them. So the sheep that I got my fleece from, he wasn't visiting that day, but there were some others, and you can see, I'll put a photo in, if the little, the little coats on, and so what that does is it helps to keep the wool clean. It keeps, like, debris and weeds and dirt and insects and all of, the things that would naturally get into wool. It just helps to keep the wool cleaner, and then when it's sheared, and it you can tell, like, it's a beautiful fleece. So yeah, so next up is gonna be washing it, and then I'm gonna use my drum carder right here to card it into bats and spin it, and I'm thinking I'll make a sweater with it. I don't know which one. I tend to spin like probably like a worsted weight. Well, it depends. If it's 3-ply, it's like a worsted weight. 2-ply is probably more of a DK-ish. That just tends to be, if I'm just, as I'm spinning, that tends to be what it is. Anyway, I don't know. I'll probably spin some, like, wash it, card it up, have a go spinning some, and kind of see what I like the look of and how I like, do I like 2-ply? Do I like 3-ply? Is there a particular weight that I feel like it's extra nice in? I'll kind of like play around a little bit, and then once I decide my favorite spin for the yarn, that's what I'll spin it as, and I'll find a pattern that would work well. I think that's, I haven't thought this through. I'm talking out loud right now. We'll see. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, and then actually let's chat a little bit about the fleece event. I'm blanking on the words. The fleece auction. Anyway, I'm gonna put some footage in. So this was my first time buying a fleece from this kind of event. So I've been to other fiber festivals and I've kind of seen it going on, but I didn't quite understand how it worked, or like how you bought it, or and I haven't, we've also been traveling whenever we've done it in the past, and so I didn't have the space to bring one back with me. But this time we'd driven up there. We were actually in the motorhome, so that worked out great because I could bring a giant sack of fleece home with me without a problem. So if you go to a fiber event and you're interested, here's how it worked at Estes Park, and I'm sure it's very similar elsewhere. So the fleeces are organized into different categories. So for example, like all of the alpaca was together, all of the like very soft, like the lower micron fleece, like merino and things like that, they were in one section. so it's categorized, so you can kind of like go to, if you know that you want a particular type of fleece, you can kind of navigate through and find your way to that section. And then it's also judged in categories in that way. So you wouldn't judge, well, so it's similar fleeces that are being judged in the event together. So yeah, you could, you take a look around, and then the information is included in each of the fleece, so you can kind of look at the fleece, examine it, and then it has the information about the breeder or the farm in the fleece itself. So if there's one that you want to buy, you just text the farmer directly, and they will respond and let you know if it's still available. And you kind of, you pop your name, you write your name on sold and write your name on the ticket. And all of this was happening right at the start of the event, and then like throughout the event. So as long as it wasn't already sold, the fleeces were available through the whole event. But most would like you to leave the fleece there so that it can be part of the judging. So obviously I contacted the farmer, we'd agreed that it was still available and I could buy it, so I marked it as sold. And then later I came back to pick it up after all of the, after the competition, after everything was judged, and that's when I found out that we'd got the first place ribbon on this fleece. So yeah, and then I have to say, like, because I didn't know any of this going into it, like what was the process, how do I, what do I do, how do I actually buy it, but I just started asking questions and chatting to people who were volunteers that were working at the event, and they were very busy moving fleeces around, organizing, sorting, making sure everything was staying nicely organized into the different categories. But it was super helpful, and one lady in particular was giving me a lot of information about like the fleece and what to look for, and just sharing information. So anyway, like, even if you don't want to buy one, if you just want to go look at the different fleeces and chat with people and ask questions, and it's a great way to learn more. And then also watching the judging and hearing the comments from the judges and kind of seeing how they rank and categorize and things like that. Just the whole thing is very interesting, and you learn a lot. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. So let's see some of the things that I got. So from Estes Park, I got some beautiful yarn. This is from another crafty girl, and I'll put her information down below with a link to her, with a link. So both of these are her Twinkle sock base. So it's I should hold it up so you can see it. So it is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So stellina is what gives it that sparkle, which I think you can see. Maybe it doesn't show up great on camera. It's tough to photograph sparkle as well. Anyway, it has a lovely sparkle to it. So it's a 2-ply, fingering weight, 438 yards to 100 grams. So this colorway is All My Friends, and this one is Permafrost, which she said was named after a dragon. Zelda, maybe? I'm not really a gamer, so I don't remember, but I just thought it was beautiful. So this one I actually plan to make some Christmas socks with, because I just felt like that with the sparkle as well. That's a beautiful Christmas color. This one I was going to ask my daughter if she wanted these for Christmas socks. I think she I felt like she would like this color, but if not, I think it'll be gorgeous knitted up. She had beautiful colorways, she had some lovely samples like sweaters and different things like that. So yeah, so I also got, and actually I didn't purchase this one, Paul, my husband Paul, who was there helping at the event, he went off shopping on his own because it was my birthday in June, towards the end of June. So he did a little bit of shopping at the event and kind of picked up a few things for me. So one of the things he got is a new drop spindle. So it's this lovely wood with kind of this inlaid wood pattern. And so I haven't used drop spindles for years and years and years and years, but I was saying to him at another event we were at, I think it was at like the Arizona Weavers Guild Fiber Festival that they put on in April. Anyway, I was saying at another event that I would quite like a new drop spindle. I don't need one. I do have at least one other drop spindle, and I have a couple of supported spindles, but they're pretty inexpensive, and I just, you know, I was thinking it would be nice to have a new one, and I could take it with me to events. So when we're in a booth, if, you know, you inevitably, like when you have an event, like have periods of busyness and then it'll kind of drop off, especially like further into the event. So usually the first day is busy, and then, you know, after that things can sometimes get quiet. So for those quiet periods, I was thinking, you know, I could carry a little drop spindle and spin. And so I do have an electric spinner as well, but I don't know, there's just something about, sometimes you just want like a simple, like this is it can be frustrating. I was going to say it's a very like therapeutic practice, and it is, but I also want to recognize that it's not when you start. So there is a learning curve to it, and when you start, you don't immediately have that like relaxing therapeutic experience, and it can be frustrating because, you know, as you're drafting, until you get the feel for it, you know, the drop spindle can drop and kind of break the fiber, and so, you know, it takes a little bit of practice. So starting out, you know, that's okay if you don't feel that, and you feel more, you know, tense and frustration if it's not quite going, but you know, you stick with it for a little bit, and it's like anything, right? You like get the rhythm, you start to get the feel for it, and then it becomes very relaxing. So sometimes just like simple tools are what we need. Anyway, so and for anybody who's new to spinning, it is a great hobby. I don't want to say it is a hobby. It's a wonderful thing because there's something about like the tactileness of wool, and just that like the motion and the feeling and the kind of it's the same with knitting and crochet and, you know, all of those things. Like there's something about doing something with your hands that just kind of quiets the mind a little bit. It just feels very relaxing. So the nice thing about spinning is you don't need a lot of equipment, like a drop spindle, and you can pick them up for very inexpensive, like for definitely starting at $10, and sometimes even, you know, cheaper than that, depending on where you're looking. And you can find them, like you could search on Etsy, just search drop spindle, and there'll be a ton of options that come up. So it's a great one because you just need, like I say, you just need like a drop spindle and start with any kind of fiber. These combed top, this kind of prepared fiber is a good one because when you're starting out, it's a little bit easier to draft as opposed to like, you know, raw wool, or you don't have to do any of the combing or preparation. This is like ready to spin. So yeah, speaking of spinning, it is Tour de Fleece right now, and I'm not sure for any spinners out there, there's a lot of you I know who take part in it every year. I love the thought of it, but I generally don't take part in it just because I know in the past I've known that I haven't had the time to spin daily. But I decided to go for it this year, knowing that I probably still wouldn't have time daily, but that's okay. I'll just do what I can. So I haven't been spinning daily. So when I'm recording this now, it's the 10th of July. So we are a week or so in, more than that, week and a half in. So I did spin a braid of this fiber. So this is one of our Storyteller Stitchery Society colorways. So this was April's colorway from the book Circe. So inspired by the book Circe by Madeline Miller. The colorway was Isle of Ayaya. So that is the island in the book that Circe was banished to, but actually ended up being kind of her sanctuary, in the place where she was able to, you know, be herself and do the things that make her who she is, and make her into the person that she is. So anyway, that's how we came, that's, you know, that was the inspiration for the colorway. So this one is British Blueface Leicester. So every month I choose a different fiber base in the society. So for anybody who chooses the fiber subscription, it is a different fiber so that you get to try different breeds. And I tend to choose 100% breeds, because I think part of the fun is like trying, like there's so much history in every breed of sheep. I'm going off on a little tangent here, but I find it fascinating. Like there's so much history in every breed of sheep, and you know, this one's British Blueface Leicester, and off the top of my head I don't remember the exact history with this one, but like going back hundreds of years, like there's so much that has gone into the breeding and the, you know, how the animals are raised, and how the breed has been kind of protected and looked after and grown to help the fleece, but also, you know, for meat production and things like that. So anyway, there's just a lot of history within each of the breeds, but each breed is so unique. So the Blueface Leicester is like a longer staple length. So like the length of, so this is the fiber as it grows out of the sheep, right? So the staple length is the length of the fiber. So you know, you can have pretty short ones that are just, you know, and some of it is how often they're sheared, like obviously how often they're sheared. So if they're sheared every year, which, you know, hopefully they will be, because you know, I'm going off on an even more tangent. Anyway, BFL, longer staple length. It has a natural shine to it, and it's not as soft as merino, so the micron count is higher, meaning it's not as soft, but it is still a lovely wool, soft wool. It's not a scratchy wool, in my opinion, and it's one of my favorites. I just think it's a beautiful one. Anyway, so that was April's Storyteller Stitchery Society colorway. So that's what I spun in Tour de Fleece so far. So I've got this 3-ply, and this one is a 2-ply. So I split it into 3 and then spun onto 3 bobbins. I did fractal spin it, so I split it into 3. The first bobbin I spun just directly from that, the one, like, you know, the third of this. The second bobbin, I took the third and I split that into 2, and then I spun them end to end. And then the third bobbin, I took that original third and I split it into 3, and then spun the 3 end to end, and then I plied them together. So when I plied them, just the 3 together into this 3-ply. And then when I finished one of the bobbins, I did still have, so I obviously hadn't split them equally, which is fine. So I did still have some fiber on 2 bobbins. So I started spinning them 2-ply, which is this little mini one. Let's see. And then when I finished one of the 2 bobbins as I was spinning, then I kind of wrapped the fiber. There's a way that you can wrap it like a bracelet, and then you can 2-ply it, but it's kind of, you know, it's wrapped around you start wrapping it around your fingers, and then you kind of drop it into a bracelet, and then you can ply it from it being wrapped around your wrist, but it doesn't tangle. I'll find a video on YouTube and put it below for anybody who's interested. Bracelet wrap plying. So it just helps to keep it organized while you ply. So anyway, that's all I have. I haven't spun for a couple of days. But by taking part in Tour de Fleece, like I wouldn't have taken the time to spin this just because things have been kind of crazy this month. So yeah. So another thing that Paul picked up at Estes Wool Market for my birthday, he got me a bunch of stuff from Yank Yarn. So from Bonnie, who owns Yank Yarn, and we're friends with Bonnie, and she's also in Arizona, and so we end up doing a lot of the same events together. And I love when we're in an event with Bonnie. She's so much fun. So yeah, so it's great. We were kind of neighbors. Like she was like a few booths down from us. And she was also at Flagstaff Wool Festival. There was a few of us, the Apothecary, who else? There was a few of us that were at Flagstaff Wool Festival, and then you know, a few days later we were all at Estes Park again. So anyway, so he got me this little pin. So it's sheep, but they're like little balls of wool. You can see the knitting needles in there. So it's just a cute little pin. And this is like a cardigan. It clips on its little buttons and chain. And then a little clip, so you could use it as a stitch marker or like a progress keeper, or you could clip it onto like your project bag or something like that. And then this one, Bonnie is known for the little smelly ball sack, which just captures Bonnie's personality perfectly. So you put essential oil in the little kind of foam ball, and then it'll clip you know, into your project bag, and so then it just makes everything smell lovely. Yeah, then let's see, I think that might be it from Estes Park. So I have signed up to do the Arizona Master Gardener program, which starts this week and runs through end of November or early December. So it goes for like 17 weeks. And so I'm very excited. This is another thing that I've wanted to do for years and years and years, and I've never had the time. And I probably still don't have the time, in all honesty, but like sometimes you just have to commit to something, right? Like that you want to do, because there's never a perfect time. Like life is just, it's always busy for all of us, right? We always have so much going on. And so I decided to just sign up, do it, and I'm really excited about it. So let me show you some of the materials. All right, so this is the manual, and it's broken down, so like different modules each week, and so they tell you like which chapters to read. I think there's videos to watch. There's a Zoom call, so we can get on and kind of, you know, chat with other people in the class and ask questions and discuss whatever's happening that week. If you do it along with volunteer hours, you become, you know, you get like the title of like certified master gardener in Arizona. I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm not interested in, I don't need that title. I'm doing it because I want to learn how to garden in the desert. It's a very different climate here, obviously. Like I want to learn about like soil health in the desert, and you know, natural methods for pest control and watering schedules, because right now I just completely wing it. And I can get stuff to grow, but then we have a ton of rabbits in our neighborhood and they just eat everything except for rosemary. The only thing I can grow that the rabbits don't eat is rosemary. And then there's like a bunch of obviously insects and things that there's beneficial insects. So I know we have like praying mantis and even ladybirds we have, which surprised me that they live in the desert. But anyway, there's all kinds. So I want to just understand more about that. What do I do to grow a garden that'll help more of those beneficial insects, and that can be, you know, a place for, you know, butterflies and hummingbirds and all of those lovely things? And how do I naturally control the insects that we don't want, you know, that will destroy the plants. And then how do I grow in this heat? I mean, in the summer, well, anyway, that's an aside. So we've got the book, and then a ton of materials, including a planting guide. So you can grow a ton of stuff in the desert, and what's really cool is that we have like these long growing seasons. So especially spring and fall, like we don't get particularly cold over winter. So it will frost a couple of nights. You will, you know, it will drop, and you'll have some frost. But generally that's like late December, January, and that's it. So, and then, you know, so you do have these longer growing periods. So anyway, I want to grow flowers and some veggies, and I really want to plant and grow for a dye garden and then botanically dye yarn. I don't think I'll be growing for Storyteller Stitchery. I think it'll just be for me, at least starting out, because I can't imagine that I'll be able to grow like the volume of plants and processing them for like the volume of yarn that I would need. Maybe I'll be able to do like a, you know, a limited run of like, you know, a very small amount of yarn or fiber. But I don't know, that's not my primary goal. I just want to grow for me, and then we'll see what happens down the line. Like no real plans there. But super excited to learn more about how to help actually, you know, grow the plants I want to grow and have them stay alive and not frizzle up and die in the heat. So one of the things Paul got me was just some, you know, little plant seeds. So he got indigo and weld and madder. So the madder, I'm pretty sure you have to grow it for like 2 years, I think. Like it has to be 2 years old before you're able to, maybe even longer than that. Anyway, it has to be a mature plant, and then you harvest it for the roots, and the root is what will give the color for the red. And then indigo is obviously blue, and then weld is this kind of yellow green, and then obviously depending on how like the pH level of the water, you can like shift colors. And so I'm excited to just, you know, it's another fun thing to like dive into. So yeah, we have orientation for that tonight. Super excited for that. Yeah, what else? All right, I think I'm going to show you one more thing that I recently got, and then we'll move into projects. All right, so one more thing I recently got is some notebooks from Archer and Olive, which is my favorite notebook company. So she launched their summer range, and it was around the same time that I was launching the Water Mythology collection for Storyteller Stitchery, and I just felt like I had to get, so I got 3. 2 of them are like, you know, oceans and kind of water related. So there's this one, it has the little sparkles. I got, and it's like this linen cover, and I got A5 size, and I like the dots, just because they give you a lot more flexibility in, you know, if you're going to sketch something, if you're writing, like whatever you're doing. And then I got this one, obviously oceans and water related. And then the back, this one has the little ropes, and it's the same A5 and dot grid. And then I picked up one more, which I'd seen previously and didn't buy, and then she'd restocked on it, so I decided to get one. So it's got like a holographic silver with a beautiful spine, and then the sides of the paper is holographic, and this one has some moons and stars on the inside. So all 3 of them are A5 and dot grid. So yeah, I know some of you are stationery fans just like me, so I thought I'd share that. And speaking of Water Mythology, so I'd opened the pre-orders and then they were open for a week, they closed. We have shipped out all of the pre-orders at this point for Water Mythology, so I am going to open it up again probably in July. We are getting ready for some events coming up like Knit City in Calgary, which is happening in August, and so I kind of want to see how prepping for that goes. So if you want to find out when it opens, you can join the mailing list. I'll put the link below. If you're not already on the mailing list, you can join the newsletter and I'll send out information when it opens. Actually, I do have a project, so let's switch to projects. So anyway, that's Water Mythology is going to reopen soon, but I do have a project that I'm knitting with Water Mythology, so we can shift to that. So I cast on, so as soon as I saw Locatelli's new pattern, the Hipster top, like I became obsessed and had to cast on immediately. Especially living in Arizona, it's nice to have more options for like warm weather. So so I'm not very far on it. Let's see, I'm not sure if I can show it. So this part here is basically the shoulder, so it actually goes that way. So this kind of runs along the top of the shoulder like this. So I've started, so you kind of start with the front, you do the shoulder piece, and then you pick up and start knitting along the back, and then at a certain point, you know, you'll knit this for the other shoulder, knit down, and then you'll kind of pick up, and then I'm assuming, I haven't read that far ahead, but I'm assuming then you'll start in the round. So this is the darker green color is our adventure base, and it is Selkie on Adventure, which is this one right here. So our adventure base is merino, yak, and nylon, and so the yak gives it this natural brown color. So the colorways on this base show up a little bit differently than they do on the other bases, because the wool, the yarn, before I start dyeing it, it's already like a neutral brown color, like a brown color. So it just takes the colors differently. But what I love is, like, on the Water Mythology colorways, like, it's almost metallic. I mean, it's not, but it has just this shine that is stunning. And so those darker greens you can see. And then the other color I'm using is Lady of the Lake, which is also a Water Mythology color. And this one is Storyteller Sock. So that one is a natural, white wool base. And so that gives it the contrast for the stripes, which is something that Joji had done in the pattern. She has the stripes. I'd actually started, let me see if I've got the swatch. So this is the swatch that I knitted. So it does use the Adventure Selkie, and then the other color is Kelpie. No, Selkie. Oh goodness. So Selkie on Storyteller Sock. And so I knitted the swatch, and I thought that I didn't want like contrast with the stripes, and I thought before I knit the swatch, I thought that I wanted to be much more kind of complementary, subdued, like not visible stripes. But actually, once I knitted the swatch, like, I like the fabric, I like the color that it creates, And there is some contrast there, and it definitely doesn't read as stripes, it just is like a contrasting fabric. But once I knit the swatch, I realized actually I did want more contrast than that, so that's when I switched to Lady of the Lake and Kelpie, and so you can see the difference. So this green color is the same in both. This green color is the same in both, but just by switching out the Salky, which is the kind of bluish, and putting in this much higher contrast Lady of the Lake colorway to get the stripes. So I'm really happy with how it's knitting up. I think it's going to be really wearable in Arizona. I'm also working on a sock. That I started at Estes Park. So it is, so this colorway here is Mr. McGregor's Radishes, so inspired by Beatrix Potter character. And then the contrasting, you know, heel, cuff, and I'm going to do a contrasting toe as well. This is the Tailor of Gloucester color. So both of these are on Storyteller sock base. So I love a good like textured sock. So I started at Estes Park Wool Market. I haven't picked it up in a couple of weeks because I switched over to the top that I just showed you. And then, so I do also have, like, I haven't finished a sweater I was working on that I've showed in a previous video. That's kind of gone to one side, but I feel like that's more of a winter one. I'm at the point of, like, I've got the body done, and I need to do the sleeves, and then I need to pick up and do the v-neck, but I'm kind of putting it to one side for a little bit because I'll pick it back up later, I think. Well, not I think, I will definitely pick it up later, but I just kind of switched focus. I don't know if you will do this as well. Like, I'll be like super into a project, and then I'll just I don't have a lot of time to knit, so I probably don't get through it fast enough, and then I will just be obsessed with a different pattern and have to cast that on. And so I always have like multiple whips on the go at any one time, and I'll kind of just, you know, knit on whatever I feel like, which does change. Like, I'll kind of switch around a bit. I did have a finished object, which was the little green baby sweater that I was knitting in our Odyssey base, in the Tailor of Gloucester color. And it was, so Odyssey base is merino and alpaca, so it's a lovely soft one, and it has a really nice drape to it, so it's beautiful for sweaters. But I'm not quite sure where it is, so I will show that in the next video. And then I also have, so this is not one of my projects. We, so Nori knitted it as a sample for us to have an event, well, sorry, not knitted, crocheted for us to have as a sample, to kind of showcase at events. So it's this super cute vest. This is on our Ballad base, which is merino and silk. And it's in the colorway Begin Again, and I love how it shows up. So let me show you the back as well. I love how it shows up. I just think with a white shirt underneath and like over jeans, I just think this will be beautiful. And then of course with crochet, like, there's just so much texture. Beautiful. So yeah, she just recently finished this, sent it, so I'm going to have it as a sample on display when we go to Knit City, so you'll see it if you come to that event. And I just realized I don't have the pattern information to hand, so I will link the pattern in the show notes, like in the description below, because I want to make sure that if you like the pattern, you can go get it. So yeah, so that is a finished object that was not finished by me, but she did a great job. And so I wanted to share it so that, you know, if you're not going to be at events, you still get to see it. I'm not going to show June Society collection today because this is already quite a long video. I think I'll show that next time. Let's see. Yeah, I'll show that next time. So if you're interested though, I have posted some stuff on Instagram. You can go check it out there and have a look at the colorway. And the book for June was Happy Place by Emily Henry. So all right, so let's wrap up with what's happening in the next few weeks. So we're going to be so actually one thing that I do need to, that I haven't mentioned or announced yet, is we're supposed to be at Convergence in Wichita, Kansas, starting, well, we're supposed to be there right now. The event starts later this week and it runs through the weekend, and we were all signed up to have a lovely big booth, and I was very excited to be there. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic event. So it's organized by the Hand Weavers Guild of America. There's a bunch of different classes, there's all kinds going on. So yeah, we were all signed up to be there, and then in the middle of June my son had surgery. He's doing well, but he ended up staying in hospital for the week. So obviously I stayed in hospital with him for the week. We didn't know it was going to be a week. We thought it was going to be like maybe 2 nights. So it was a lot longer than we planned, but he's doing great. Phoenix Children's Hospital, amazing. Everybody, I mean, you know, from the surgeon to the nurses who took care of him. We were in the ICU for the first couple of nights and then moved to the main, I think we were there for 3 nights and then moved to the main floor for the rest of the week that we were there. But they were all phenomenal and they took really, really good care of him. So we got home like late June. I want to say we got home like the 20th or something like that. So he's home like for the next like 6 weeks post surgery, and you know, restricted diet. He's on like liquid and soft foods, and obviously just a lot of healing going on, and so the event was kind of 4 weeks post surgery, and so at the time of the surgery we thought he would come with us to Calgary. I'd rented an Airbnb, so I thought we'll all head out there, he'll be with us. And so I kind of miscalculated first of all how long he was going to be in the hospital, and then everything that would go into his care after that. So it became clear that like we just, you know, we gotta put him first, obviously, that's not even a question. So we decided to not go to Convergence, which was it's not an easy decision to make, and it's not an easy decision to make in terms of I would love to be there, and there was a lot of different vendors going that I wanted to meet for the first time, and you know, there's some amazing classes happening there that I was hoping to sign up for and things like that. So anyway, we won't be there, but it's all good because sometimes things come up in life that you just have to make decisions in the circumstances that you have. This is one of those times, and I'm thankful that I get to be home with him. You know, I run the business in a way that as an entrepreneur, it's a lot of work and a lot of time, but you know, I get to make sure that he is eating what he needs to be eating in terms of like the restricted diet, and I know he's home and safe and healing and things are going well. So anyway, so June was a bit of a doozy of a month for that reason, and also this month as well, just but I'm very thankful that he's doing so well. So yeah, anyway, so unfortunately we won't be at Convergence. I think I am going to run a promo for free shipping, so if anybody wanted to shop from us at Convergence, you know, you can still shop from us and get free shipping and not pay extra for that. And that'll help for us as well. I mean, obviously, like, I'd already paid for the booth, already paid for the Airbnb, so it's a significant amount of money that we lose by not going and obviously not making sales. But it's just one of those things. So yeah, I think I'll do the code free ship, and I'll put this on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll send an email out as well, but code free ship. And then I think as long as you, let's say as long as you spend over $30, then it'll, you know what, it'll ship for free. And I say 30 just because I need to make sure I'm not losing losing money. Yeah, anyway, so we won't be at Convergence. We will be at Knit City in Calgary, and that's the middle of August, so a little bit over a month from now. And my son should be in good shape by then, so I'm confident we'll not have any issues there. So yeah, we're flying up to Calgary, and then it's a couple of days long. I'm really excited for that one as well. It's going to be our first event outside of the US, so that's exciting. And then in September we're going to be at DFW Fiber Fest. So that is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. I'm hoping my sister might come with me to that one. She's a teacher, and so it depends if she can get, she'll need to take like a day or two off school. So I don't know if that's possible. She's going to find out. But Paul will be with me at Knit City in Calgary. So yeah. And you can always go to the website, storytellerstitchery.com, and then up at the top in the menu there's an events page. And if you go to events, it'll tell you like the places that we're going to be at. So I think that's everything. And I am going to try and start recording much more frequently. But it's been a bit of a wild time lately, so that's okay. But I hope you are well, and I hope you are finding some time this summer to craft and relax, and whatever that looks like for you. And I think I haven't been sharing the books that I've been reading, and maybe in the next video I'll share and maybe at the end of each month I'll share the books that I read for that month. Summer just feels like such a good time for reading, even if it's something that you don't usually make time for. So maybe we'll start doing that. Anyway, I'm going off on another tangent. So wrapping this up, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you are having some time to relax and looking after yourself. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe to support Storyteller Stitchery YouTube channel. And I appreciate very much anytime anybody makes a choice to press that button and get notified when new videos come out. And that's it for today. Thank you. Bye.